I mean, I shouldn't have been on that route. It's kind of like one of those things. If like somebody said you got to do this or you die, then you're like you'll find a way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I felt.
This is what it's like climbing with Rich LaPaix.
Hey everybody, welcome to the very first Icebox Sessions podcast. My name is Sean Cassidy and we are in conversation with Nova Scotia rock climbers. This episode is sponsored by 7 Bays Bouldering, and today's guest is my good friend and longtime climbing partner, Rich LaPaix. Rich grew up on a farm in Pictou County and has been climbing for over 20 years now. We talk about some of his favorite boulder problems, his elite training methods, and classic routes that nobody has ever heard of. I'm glad you're here listening. Let's jump in with Rich in the icebox.
You've been here before, I think.
A few times, yeah. Used to be pretty regular, actually.
How did you get into climbing?
Well, I remember the first time I was introduced to climbing, but it was in the gym right after high school. And I think like coming out of high school, I had all these things I had kind of like seen in magazines like National Geographic that I wanted to do as like this coming of age stuff. Like, you know, I wanted to go skydiving, I wanted to scuba dive. And I think probably somewhere in there was like climb a mountain or something, right?
Right. Check. You had a bucket list.
Yeah, kind of like, you know, Farmboy gets, you know, free and is able to roam the world or and like have new experiences kind of list. And anyway, I was on an exchange program and living in Petawawa area in Ontario, and I heard of a climbing gym on the local military base. So I started going there and climbing there like once a week. I think I only got there maybe half a dozen times, but I kind of fell in love with it right away. My first kind of outdoor experience was when I was tree planting out in BC, and it was the fall, I think, and I was based out of Whistler at the time, actually, on this crew, and this older guy named Pete, he took me out for the day. We went up and climbed some of the routes around Whistler, and yeah, that was kind of a first real experience out on the rock.
So how many years is that, roughly?
Over 20, to remember. Yeah, over 20.
You getting tired of climbing yet?
It definitely has waxed and waned in terms of my interest, but I think that also like reflects if I'm getting the opportunity to do it or not. Like when I have the opportunity to do it, I kind of always rediscover it. But sometimes just with everything going on in life, like it's kind of like surfing. I can go 6 months without surfing and I kind of forget about it.
Yeah, I know. You know? I find that strange. Yeah. Like you've said that to me before. I haven't even noticed. I haven't checked.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're like 5 minutes from the break.
Yeah. And certainly my relationship to it has changed, but I'd say I mean, it's kind of like so ingrained as part of me now that like I'm not looking to stop it. I don't think I can. Like I'm just kind of intrigued by it all the time and different aspects of it. So
I know the feeling. Yeah. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's hard to let it go.
Yeah. Like in some ways your whole community, or you see how your life has been structured around the connections you've made with climbing, and it's such a outlet for, you know, time alone, time with friends, kind of exploration, adventure, visiting places that you know really well that have like some meaning to you. So there's all those aspects of it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you get out of climbing that's maybe different than surfing, or is it very similar?
Yeah, I mean, they're both can be individual sports, you know, but
you're not a team player.
I used to play team sports, but yeah, it's nice to kind of explore something on your own pace and just, you know, interact with like whatever the natural environment, and you know, they both have that to kind of offer. The exploration side, you know, kind of similar communities at times, but also very different at others. Like overall, I'd say like I've probably develop more like friendships through climbing, and I think it's because of the partnership base that you're reliant on largely.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah, a bit more social than the cold shoulders in the water.
Well,
sometimes.
Surfing, I mean, I know a lot of people through surfing, a lot of good friends, but yeah, it's a little bit different feel. I mean, that could be changing, but you're not like when you're in the water, you're not dependent on somebody else to the same degree as when you're going climbing as a partnership. You know, it kind of forces you to kind of learn about that person a little bit differently.
So here's a funny thing that I've thought of over the years. I don't know if we talked about it, but I've found the partnership that you have with someone doing a trad climbing, but where someone's leading and then someone's following and taking out the gear. That's to me a closer relationship than sport climbing is. And I found it pretty odd when you go to a sport climbing area or you go sport climbing with people, and sometimes it would just be, Rich is going to do his route, and then he wraps down, pulls the draws, and Sean's left to figure out what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
You know what? So much more of a me thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It feels like. And I remember feeling sad about that.
Yeah, I agree. When you do a trad route, you're often kind of doing it together. One person has to be leading it, but it's like, yeah.
And sometimes it's harder to second it.
Yeah, and cleaning the gear, and yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and certainly like a multi-pitch is like that, even more
Any
so.
style
Yeah.
too, right? So
Yeah,
sport stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
Jumping to multi-pitch sport climbing, you've done a fair bit of traveling, and I'm thinking of Potrero Chico, where I want to go. Tell us about some of your adventures there. You did what's that route? Kind of a classic 512.
Yeah,
thing?
El Sendero Luminoso.
Sendero
Yeah.
Luminoso. Cool.
Well, I've been there twice, so not a ton, but the first time was back in it was 2000 actually. I was kind of in between work contracts and school, and I ended up taking a bus down actually from New Brunswick,
As one does.
all the way down to Mexico, because I heard this is a good deal through Greyhound, where it's like $99 to anywhere in North America.
Yeah.
So yeah, 4 or 5 days on a bus. That was an interesting adventure, kind of cultural experience in and of itself, going through different parts
Some
of the
of your
States.
closest friends are from that bus.
Yeah, I don't know if I made too many friends on that bus. I kind of kept
Keep
to myself.
yourself. Yeah. Don't look anybody in the eye.
Well, yeah. I did get pickpocketed actually.
Ooh.
Yeah. Luckily, I had my passport, but I lost my credit cards and a bunch of cash and stuff like that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was an experience. Anyway, so I made it down to Mexico, and I had about a month and a bit there. And I went down by myself, but I knew that there were other people going down that I knew and hadn't climbed with before that were from out west. So
Okay.
after I'd been there for a week, I kind of hooked up with the Canmore crew and my good buddy Pete Thurlow at the time.
Of course, yeah, Pete.
And our communal friend Nick and a bunch of others that were down there. And Pete and I ended up climbing a ton together down there and did some really awesome routes, and traveled a little bit elsewhere in Mexico climbing. Like we went to El Salto back when it wasn't really developed, and camped out there
right.
for about a week. And we also went surfing and had a great adventure. But anyway, speaking of El Sendero, like I woke up every morning and stared at the big massif there. And like El Sendero is a very prominent line, kind of draws your attention. I always remember kind of daydreaming about like, that's a route, just the physical look of it was very striking and kind of drew me. So it was something that like definitely registered in my mind as, something to dream about. And
that was on your first trip, which planted the seed for a later.
Gotcha. And we had done a route next to it called Land of the Free, which was probably the highlight at that time. And I was, I had only been climbing a few years at that time, so it was like kind of a big experience doing that route at the time. It was just like a hard 11 or easy 12, I don't know, 10 plus pitches or something, but kind of felt somewhat remote at the time, and it just felt like a good experience and adventure. But anyway, fast forward, I don't know how long it was later, maybe 10 to 15 years, but me and my buddy Kenny, also from Newfoundland, like Pete.
Kenny Tuak?
Yeah, Kenny Tuak. We ended up going down there to give it a go. We had like a 2-week trip, and ended up getting it up it in a couple days. Didn't send it free. Kenny actually sent a lot of it free. Like,
so you guys
on
slept
site.
on the way up?
Yeah, there's halfway up is like there's a ledge at 5 pitches up, but all those pitches are like over 50 meters, so you're almost at about halfway up the route, and there's a good ledge. So yeah, I think they may all be 512 stacked on top of each other up to this ledge. So that's kind of a big day by the time you haul your stuff. So we camped out there and played some chess and drank some wine, and ended up calling Pete actually and talking to him.
Oh, okay.
So that
Looking
was
for
fun.
beta or what?
Oh no, just to shoot the shit, I think. This is probably 15 years after Pete and I had been there.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, no, it would have been. And then, finished the next day and wrapped down. So it was fun to get back there. It's a beautiful line, just again, it's just kind of this striking prow up the middle of the formation. So that was pretty cool to be able to go and touch it. And it's interesting, like when things strike you, like you get inspired by something, and it's often a photo. I found like photos from old mags would be really inspiring. They kind of make you want to travel to an area. I remember like the inspiration for wanting to check out the desert were certainly like inspired probably by like old Jim Thornburg photos or something, that type of thing.
Cool.
Photos in guidebooks have a big influence that way. Like if it's a cool shot, it kind of makes you get drawn to that. But certainly I can, have been really drawn to routes just aesthetically that I knew nothing about, but you walk by and you're like, all of a sudden it just strikes you in some way. And, even if it's not a classic route in somebody else's mind, it may be in your mind.
Is that the motivation for you? Like I've heard you say a number of times, like you don't really like starred ratings in guidebooks.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, they're inherently subjective, and I think they have a place. And I wouldn't say I don't like them in the sense that I use them, and you go to a new area and you're going to kind of rely on them. But I think they're also limiting. So it's kind of like this twofold thing where, it draws people to certain areas and then other things get ignored. And so, and so you tend to go to the routes, that are more traveled. They have more chalk. They may have more people. They may be soft for the grade, things that we all kind of like, but ultimately,
that's safe and it's going to be a good tick.
They may not give you the experience that is the most memorable, right? And they may not be the most unique. They could be super, quality routes, but there's other things because of their popularity that also detract from them. So yeah, it's like I have
the smell of feces, for example.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a bit limiting. I just think you have to be careful, and you have to kind of, like you're saying, ideally, if you can keep, an open mind in terms of what actually, when you're at a site, at a crag, keep an open mind in terms of what you find interesting looking, and try not to maybe just follow the guidebook.
Yeah, it's weird. What are your thoughts on grades? Sometimes I feel like you limit yourself by thinking the grade means something or that it's concrete.
Yeah, I know my hardest climbs have sometimes been when I didn't know the grades, like boulder problems in particular. You just try it and you kind of let go of the expectations. And so, it's like this necessary evil in a way, grades, but it's also kind of the draw of doing first ascents because you get to, nobody's told you what it is and what it is, and you're just exploring and having a more of an open mind. And that's.
So you've put up a number of new routes and kind of enjoyed that experience of discovery and cleaning and scrubbing and sometimes bolting.
Yeah.
Any favorite routes that you've put up that other people should know about so that they can enjoy it?
I think a lot of the routes I put up are like worth doing. Not all of them get much attention. I think a bunch of them probably haven't seen repeat ascents, but it might, be a reflection of some of the things we're talking about, like maybe they don't subscribe to kind of what people have accepted as being, a standard quality route at that time. But I guess a couple routes that I've done recently that I do think are good quality that would kind of, by most people's standards, be still good quality. In that they're like,
it sounds like you have low standards.
They're like typical, like fully bolted routes.
Yeah.
With good movement, consistent movement, interesting cruxes, cool positioning. Like,
what's this route?
Well, no, like the two routes I did at Gibraltar last year. I think those are quality routes, like by anybody's standards, like relative to other routes in Nova Scotia. Those are
I think
really
we should
good
promote
routes.
those. When you were developing those, I was playing on one of them on a top rope. You were belaying me. I can't remember. Or maybe I was solo top roping. And anyways, it was the movement was amazing. And I'm gonna blame my height for a section I couldn't quite get through it.
For the face climb?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good reach.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful rock. I mean, it's
So what's that one called?
Gibraltar Stretch.
Oh yes,
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a
But
good one.
the route next to it, the Arete, like I don't know which one's better, but they're both
Oh,
very different. But they're
okay.
both in terms of, yeah, they're equal. I think.
Nice.
You played on the Arete too, didn't you?
Very briefly, yeah.
That's a really cool one.
And that the corner,
Oh yeah, that's
Gibraltar Strait.
Yeah, there you go.
Which
3
I have
routes
not
right there.
climbed yet.
That's an awesome route too. Very different style. Yeah, totally. That's a classic. I think that doesn't get climbed, unfortunately. Yeah.
Any other routes that are favorites of yours in the province that maybe you didn't necessarily put up, or
that you would recommend for people to have a go and have an experience on?
Oh man.
Without dying, of course.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's tons of good ones. Hard to know where to start. But I mean, unfortunately, Lost Boys is closed. But you know that you know is a pretty by anywhere in the world. I think that's a good route.
Yeah. So I
you know.
mean, that was a route that Sean Willett put up probably early '90s at a place called Neverland on Paces Lake, but unfortunately, it's on private land and
Yeah.
it's closed to climbing. And you know, we're all respecting that. But it was a great line.
Yeah, it's a great loss. Yeah.
Yeah, it had glued on holds. Well, not new holds,
Reinforced.
but reinforced Sika holds, which I thought was pretty neat.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, because it was like Sean Willett put that route up and tons of awesome lines. Like I love that guy's routes.
Yeah.
But he was kind of pushing beyond what was the standard approach back in those days, which was largely full on trad or maybe you bang in a pin, and he was like bolting stuff, which was a next step, and then adding glue to some holes, which is like, oh my god.
But he was doing it all. He was also putting up
He was doing everything.
run out trad routes or clean trad routes.
Yeah.
That's I respect that about him. It wasn't like a one style thing. It was like
No, he could do everything, and I'm hoping to get a chance to chat with him on one of these
that'd be
podcasts.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love.
yeah.
I'm still climbing his routes.
Oh,
Decades.
oh man, for sure.
I've definitely climbed him more than he has.
Well, it was
You
he had huge contributions to the climbing here. Yeah.
Amazing. So you didn't. Okay, so Lost Boys, but that's out of circulation.
Okay.
What would you recommend that people can actually get on?
Well, Dr. Funkenstein that you put up, that's a pretty awesome route.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And, the one right next to it, PhD, a lot of the things at Columbus I think are quality. They don't have to be like on the harder end, but just, they're fun, good gear. I can't remember the names of most of them, Yeah. What are some other ones? Oh, you know what? An area that I've only been there a couple times with you is Shiprock. Comfortably Numb and Uncomfortable Bum. Those types,
Wonderful names.
those routes when I got on them.
Keelhauled. Keelhauled is one of my favorite.
Yeah. They still seem like some of the best routes in the province, like in terms of just quality rock and movement and good gear. And
Those routes, they didn't really need any cleaning whatsoever.
yeah.
They're right on the coast, battered by waves and salt, and those are good ones.
Oh yeah, I love those routes. With those sinker like cracks that just open up in the back for
Well, I've told you the story, but Comfortably Numb, that was I think the first route that was led there. And Bonnie and I were on a kayak trip. It was a foggy day, and I had all my gear, and I wanted to climb something on Shiprock. So out of the boat, you start from land, but I got the gear moving, and then first 15 feet of the route, I got 2 locker finger locks in, and both hands went numb. Not the hands, but my fingers went totally numb. And it was like, they stayed numb for months.
Did you pinch the nerves? Because the jams were so good.
Yeah. They're so good.
I can like picture
We're
the
really
holes
selling trad
that you're
climbing,
talking
eh?
about because they constrict. It's like a triangle that opens up, and you can get something that you can cut your feet on, and you'd be fine.
And there's one, I remember one hold, there's kind of a triangular. So this face is like, it's a very sheer, it's basically vertical, very smooth face, a little bit of friction on it, but it's like a fault line or something. It's just a nice cut. And then these cracks holds go directly into the cliff. and there's a loose little rock. It's like a triangular little piece that you can slot in and out of the face. It doesn't pull out; it's solid, but you can actually pull it out
Like an inch.
Yeah, like an inch, just to get the right foothold on it. Do you remember using that?
Oh, well, yeah, I do now that you talk about it. I don't know if I knew how to use it the right way, but I think you pointed out afterwards that it's like a secret foot.
Yeah.
Like you slide it out, you use it, and then you can kick it back in. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I'm curious about training. And, well, yeah, what are your thoughts on training? How do you approach kind of keeping your game up for climbing routes or even adventures when you go traveling?
I don't know how to train. I've tried to dabble in it at times.
Yeah.
Like I've hangboarded, and actually the one time I trained was leading up to the second Mexico trip, and I did a lot of traverses, and I also hangboarded, and it was actually the only time I did anything that was structured. That followed like progression, adding time and weight and things like that. So that was,
Didn't you felt better as a result? Like you saw gains?
Yeah, I think so. It was over 10 years ago, and I can't say I've ever trained since really, but I have done some hangboarding. Yeah, so I'm not the right guy to ask about training.
I know, which is kind of funny. Yeah, we're both equally ignorant on the subject. Although you got me hangboarding a little bit over.
Did I?
Like 2 winters ago, you were leading up to a trip to France, I think.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yep.
And then who did you do the trip with?
Matt Walker. Yeah.
Matt Walker. And so you had the three of it. You signed me up to be part of this like hangboard thing, and I did it. I did it probably like 6 or 7 times.
So I'm hesitant to call it training in a sense because like it was the goal there was just to motivate us to do something. You know what I mean? So it didn't like when I think training, I think it's got to be like have some progression, have a goal, be somewhat measurable. Like this is basically like you got to hang off something and do a few pull-ups each week, or else you're going to owe me beer because there was a beer calculator.
Right.
So if you missed a session and I did a session, I got a beer. So that
I think I owed you a lot of beer after that. I don't know if I paid up on that though.
Yeah, that's right. Matt did too. Matt paid up though.
Did he?
Yeah, he paid up
on the trip.
Yeah. Actually, I think he bought me a nice meal and a few beers. I said, we'll call it even after this or something.
So, and part of the reason I was asking about training is, and what impresses me about you is that oftentimes you don't have enough time to train or climb much, but you're always game to go tackle some big adventure, like, going to the Verdun on that trip you did with Matt. Yeah, you did a bit of hangboarding, but you hadn't done much climbing, and those are pretty big, probably pretty scary routes, and you've done that a few places. I find I'm going to go up the Rainbow Wall or try it.
I didn't do that.
Well, you went. Where'd you go?
My eyes are bigger than my.
You looked at it and you ran away.
Yeah. No, thanks, man. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't want lack of getting out regularly and feeling good to be a reason to not go kind of try something. Yeah, right. I feel like a lot of climbing, like when you develop a base, you can pull off more than you might otherwise think you can if you're in the right headspace. And that's, I struggle with this recently too, because if you're not climbing and then you try to go do something, you're probably not going to be confident, And I noticed that, say, on the last trip I did in November with my buddy Ira, like, still climbed okay, but like, hesitant a little bit and whatever. So I see often like the training that I do, like hanging off the hangboard or, whatever you can do. It's like as much as the physical, I think it gets you more mentally prepared. Like, you have been doing what you can to get ready. Even if that might be a hangboard session every few days, like if that's all you can fit in because of other commitments, you've done everything you can. You can still feel that, I don't know what the gains are physically from doing like, 6 hangboard sessions in a month, but
probably negative.
I don't know, but mentally, I think it still has like some effect, and on your confidence.
I love that. Yeah. I hadn't really thought of it like that, but I think you're bang on. It's like you kind of clear out the cobwebs and remember that you can do this stuff. because I find like every season, I'm like, oh, I haven't climbed in ages. You know, I got to get used to placing gear and all that. But I mean, it comes back really quickly, way more quick than you fear it will. And you just kind of push the boat out and see what you can do. I think part of that for you too, like you want an adventure, it seems like, you know, so that's not going to stop you where you're not 100% prepared. Whereas a lot of times I'm a little bit more cautious, like, I'm not going to try that today, but, you know, I've seen you try some stuff when perhaps you shouldn't.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty cautious, you know, being a dad and everything. But yeah, more so now than like, you know, in the 20s. But I think that's pretty common.
Wisdom,
probably less testosterone.
broken body.
Yeah, all those things.
Any scary experiences that you've had climbing over the years that stick in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, nothing kind of went over the top really, but yeah, I've been gripped lots of times. Like I remember when the first times I met you, maybe you're remembering this.
I think I remember.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Well, but what I remember is I got to go climb with Steve Punchin for a couple seasons.
Another
there.
legend.
Big time.
Bold roots.
Yeah, Steve's great.
Yep.
Yeah, put up a lot of roots and really talented climber. But anyway, so I was a newbie and somehow I lucked into being able to go out with Steve, and we became kind of pseudo partners for, you know, a season at least. And anyway, Steve would kind of pick the day, and I was just kind of along for the ride, jump in his car, whatever. And so he took me out to first phase. I can't remember if it's my first time there or not, but it was. I remember it was a cold day. It was probably late October or something. Maybe it was early November, and Steve kind of recommends a route that I should go up. First Nations.
Don't ever trust what Steve Punchin tells you to do.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember you came along at some point. Maybe I was on the route, and
I was on Emotional Vampires.
Okay.
Or maybe, I think so.
Was I climbing next to you then?
Yeah, you were like 30 feet along, so I got a nice bird's eye view of the action.
Yeah.
So continue.
Well, there's not much to tell besides
It's a hard route.
I'm like
it's really hard.
So gripped and don't really know what I'm doing, to the degree that I like scare myself up the route. You know, like I remember at one point I was trying to mantle up on this ledge.
This is what I remember. Yeah.
And my feet cut, and I just like total slammed down, like straight armed. But
and also, I mean, for the listener, the gear is below your feet.
Right.
I think like it's, what was it, a small nut in a little angled crack or something.
Yeah.
So you come up to this ledge, which is maybe a foot or foot and a half deep. You get two hands on it, but it's not great.
Yeah.
And your feet are non-existent.
Yeah.
And you need to mantle up to it. And then I see you try to do this. Isn't it fun to laugh at other people's misfortune?
Oh yeah.
You try to. You try to mantle up, and then you shoot down. You fall back, but you catch yourself. And did you let out a blood-curdling scream? Or?
I can't remember, man. I just remember like being so gripped and out of my element that I couldn't let go. You know, and I mean I shouldn't have been on that route, but I think I got to the top.
You got up it
just out of like desperation.
That was probably the third ascent, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things. If like somebody said you got to do this or you die, then you'll find a way. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I felt.
This is what it's like climbing with Rich LaPaix, or maybe more so Steve Punchin.
Steve, man. I'm blaming on Steve.
I climbed with him for a lot of years and had some great times. With that, for sure. So that's a scary moment for sure. What about any feelings of just amazement and happiness climbing?
Oh, like in the zone type of thing.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm sure. I mean, they're what's the word? You know, rare, but it's kind of what gets you addicted. I think, you know, it's that sense of like flow. So yeah, I've kind of been lucky enough when you're red pointing something or even on sighting something that, you know, is kind of, you know, maybe close to your level, but totally doable, and you can kind of just be into it and not think about other things.
Do you remember any specific
I'm trying, man. I wish I...
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
it's all right.
no, I mean, I like to think that you get into that on most routes, but I don't know if it really stands out. I don't know. Has it been a route that you've seen me on that you thought?
Damn, he's in the zone right
Yeah,
now.
damn, that guy.
I hope he remembers
He's
this.
connected. Yeah.
No, not at
I
all.
don't think
No.
so. Yeah. Wait.
I just remember emotional impact or whatever that route
That's
was.
probably
Yeah.
the norm of my existence, like when
Yeah.
I'm climbing. Yeah.
This has been great. Thanks for doing this with me. What about bouldering? I'm thinking like routes and bouldering. I think you've put a lot of effort into developing up the Musquodoboit Valley. It feels like that's where the center of your efforts have been. And like, I don't even know all the boulders that you've messed around on up there, but I know there's some quality problems. Any memories of development of those spots or
Yeah.
history of that kind of effort?
Yeah, man. Well, I certainly, explored quite a bit for bouldering out in Musquodoboit Valley, like you say. Lucky enough to kind of move to the Eastern Shore when, there had been some development out in Musquodoboit, but not a lot. And some of it, Therian and Todd and others put up, some stuff over the years that I had known about. But there was a lot to do, whole areas to be kind of found and discovered. So I was lucky enough to kind of have those, opportunities when, when it was meaningful for me and when I had the time. So, yeah, I mean, I love bouldering by myself for sure. It was like a nice outlet, like I like being in the woods by myself, and it's kind of fun, that process of uncovering things. But with friends too, like me and you probably spent quite a few days, I imagine, on different boulders, and, Craig Stamp, and discovered some areas with Sean
What about
White.
Luke?
Yeah.
What was his last name? Luke? He's out west now.
Luke, man.
Luke. Luke. Yeah, he put out a little beautiful little guidebook for bouldering at the north end of Musquodoboit.
Oh, Jesse's Diner? Oh, no? Different
maybe.
area?
You remember his? He was just intricate drawings and everything. It was gorgeous. I don't know where
Gibraltar.
Gibraltar, yeah.
Yeah. He also did a nice, beautiful thing that he never kind of made public for Jesse's Diner as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
top secret.
I don't think. I think he
Or
was just
private.
No, I think he meant to make it available, but never released it. Maybe partly because I had some suggested edits, and that maybe I was just being too annoying that he just decided it's not worth it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Luke. Yeah. He was great to climb with. Yeah. We did a bunch of stuff out there. Yeah. A lot of it's not documented, or was kind of like documented in half-ass ways. Like somebody may have a copy of something, but yeah. Some good routes. I mean, I wouldn't say it was like the same quality as probably the LOC, but there's some, I don't really know.
What's that? I haven't done a ton of those problems, but there's a nice traversing, left to right traverse. I think it's gorgeous.
That is. I would say that's the best boulder problem I've ever developed in terms of quality, like independent of grade and stuff. So that's Highliner. And Sean White and I found that and climbed it, probably 20 years ago now. And even though we never really kind of documented it that well, like people have found out about it, and I think a lot of people have kind of sought it out because it is such a quality line. Just aesthetically, this beautiful kind of overhanging, slanting traverse crack with comfortable holds and really kind of fun
it's
movement.
like 20 feet long or something. Right?
Yeah, it's
25
again,
or 30 even. It's
if it was in Bishop, it would still be a classic.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's I think people should hunt that out.
Oh yeah,
that's
a good one, and I think it's around like V5, V6. Like it's a pretty accessible grade for folks, so most people would be able to enjoy it in wood, regardless of kind of what level they're bouldering. Yeah, that's a fun one. Yeah, definitely proud of that. I haven't been on it for years, but yeah, I should go climb it soon. Yeah,
it's a classic.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. What's next? What's next for you, climbing wise or otherwise?
Well, I got some other climbing wise. I got some other local projects. Like my climbing aspirations are pretty limited. Like I don't really have any huge objectives, like internationally or something like that. No big trips. But I'm quite happy to kind of like find my windows to go seek solace and on the cliffs and with good friends, where I can convince them to join me for a day now. Looking
Why,
at you.
why are you looking at me?
Yeah. So there's some projects that I'd like to kind of develop that would be bolted, in the Musquodoboit Valley area, and I'd like to repeat some of the lines that I've always thought would be cool to do for different reasons. Either I'm interested in the history, like routes that you've done, like Insomnia, Chaos Theory. I'd like to do those. It seem like just kind of like important ticks for me personally.
Cool.
And ones that I think would be kind of like nice challenges, I'd like to get back up to Cape Clear, but we'll see. Seem to be doing more fishing these days than climbing, so I don't know.
That's the beginning of the end, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I always said I'd get into fly fishing when I got old, and now it's kind of like...
It's happening.
It's happening, yeah. But it's fun. Yeah, I don't have a huge tick list, but I have a tick list of like 10 routes that I kind of got my sights on that I'll pick away at as I get windows.
That sounds like you're still motivated.
Oh, yeah.
Cool, man. Well, if you run out of routes, you can always climb here in the icebox.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. And
yeah.
I appreciate you joining me for this this adventure, this chat. So thanks
fun.
a lot.
Thanks, Cassidy. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Well, all right. That was fun. Thanks again, Rich. And a big thank you to Seven Bays Bouldering for supporting our climbing community and helping me kick off this podcast series. Seven Bays just had their 10th anniversary party in August and celebrated by opening a brand new location in Dartmouth. Congrats to Paul and the team. It looks awesome. I'm pretty stoked about it actually because it's much closer to my house than your other 2 locations in Halifax. So be sure to check it out. It's on Brownlow Avenue in Burnside. And of course, thanks to you, the listener. I hope you enjoyed this. You can find out more about the podcast and this episode at iceboxsessions.ca. We'll catch you later.
511C. There's 3 of them. And I suspect...
There's probably more than that. You mean like at that crag?
Columbus.
Yeah, okay.
Dr.
Yeah.
Funkenstein, Insomnia, and Chaos Theory.
I've got a lot of 11Cs out there. Not a lot, but
you were like, that was like the 5'9" for you, like for the guys
it's like
back
I
in the
can't
80s
climb
or
harder
70s.
than this.
Right.
So
You just
I'll call
go
it
5C.
11C.
Yeah.